Today, no apron. We're going to do something a bit different, but we're still going to talk about cooking. That is because I just saw a really interesting post on Reddit that I really want to go through and react to it with you guys. What is the most controversial food opinion you have? And it's on Ask Reddit. You would expect there to be really things that you would agree with, but sometimes it might surprise you. First one is, I love beets because they taste like how dirt smells. Yeah, I can see why you would say that. That's definitely a controversial food opinion. Like, this is not something that you expect to see everywhere, because like the second reply to it is, that's why most people don't actually like eating beets, because they do taste like dirt, which I never had that issue. I generally don't eat beets on their own, maybe in a salad, but most times I like to have them with some horseradish. That's like one of my favorite ways to cook it. So yeah, I don't really see it as an acquired taste, but that's why it's controversial. Well, let's go to the next one. Cheryl Dodson says that for them there isn't a special occasion food. Like, they would just eat whatever they want to eat when they want. And when you become an adult, like, you start cooking for yourself, you have money to spend. For me, there are some foods that I still consider for special occasions. Like, for example, the dishes that you would normally expect to eat at holidays, if it's like Christmas special food. Here in my country, we have these things called sarmale, which I prefer to only eat it at Easter and Christmas. That's when they usually get cooked the most. I like to keep it that way. I find them a bit more special whenever I have them. Like, I can associate it with that specific time. But that being said, I don't really feel like this is a really controversial opinion. Like, I agree with you. If you want to eat cake, eat cake. It doesn't have to be something special. Of course, you have to do it in moderation, else you're gonna get chubby as... Oh yeah. Yeah, this one, I agree with it completely. Portion size is more important than restrictions when dieting for a lot of people. That's something that I've been saying for a long time. I also lost a ton of weight. Like, I used to be a lot bigger. One of the things that kind of clicked for me, I tried all the diets in the world, and diets are just basically ways to trick yourself to eat less. For me, what worked the best was actually not really restricting what I eat, but how much I eat. Like, if I want to eat some cake, I can eat some cake, but just eat a little bit of piss. Bruh. Don't eat piss. So if you want to eat cake, just eat a tiny piece of it. Don't eat like a big ass slice. Tall burgers that you can't even bite out of suck and shouldn't exist. Another opinion that I agree with. I think these are the type of burgers that look nice in photos. You can see a lot of recipes in which you see these ginormous foods that they look really good in thumbnails. But if you actually think about eating one of those, then it probably has calories for like 2 or even 3 meals, so it's kind of unrealistic. And I will add another one to these when it comes to burgers. I've seen recently a lot of this trend in which you just pour this like melted cheese all over it, and it looks really good on TikTok. Everybody's like, oh my god, I want half of this. But come on, like, how are you going to eat that? Yeah, there should be a limit. So I do agree with this as well. So I don't see this being that controversial. Let's try 2 more. So just because you like hot food doesn't mean you have to use the absolute hottest sauce you have. Yeah, I think this is more to each their own, because I also like spicy food, but I value more the flavor that hot sauces can bring to whatever I'm eating. It's not just about like destroying my mouth with the spiciest thing. Like, it's more about enhancing it with the flavor that comes with some spiciness, which is always a great addition. So I do agree with this. But there's also the flip side. There are people that they have the spiciness tolerance so high that they can't even feel the spiciness of normal things. So they need to put a lot more spicy stuff in order to actually feel like they're eating something spicy. Sticking to the traditional authentic versions of foods is not necessarily better. It is okay to be creative in cooking and mix things from different cuisines. This is a really good one. It's definitely something that I see a lot in recent years, especially when it comes to YouTube cooking, internet cooking in general. You see a lot of discussion around appropriation of culture. There's 2 things that we need to clarify when it comes to this subject. When you're just a home cook, you're cooking for yourself, maybe you're cooking for your family, then it doesn't really matter. Like, your main goal is to get fed. Nobody's there trying to verify the authenticity of what you're eating and so on. So when it comes to that, you can always just cook whatever makes sense for you. I think that's always should be the top priority. When you are a cook on the internet, when you're trying to present things for other people, think about what is the effect that that would have on somebody that hasn't tasted it before. At least mention that and say that this is your take on a specific recipe. I like this comment here, which is chicken kimchi tacos with sriracha mayo. Like, it's really good fusion between Mexican and Korean, or you can say Asian, because sriracha is it's from Thailand, right, originally. But looking at these comments, like, these are the top ones so far. These aren't as controversial as I thought. So you know what you can do sometimes if you want to see the real juicy things? You go here and switch from top to controversial. And that's where you see the real spicy comments. There we go. So the first one, it says that Indian food sucks. You can always say like X food sucks for you. It doesn't matter. It's still based on taste, right? Everybody has their own taste, and that's why it's at the top of controversial comments. I think Indian food is delicious and it has a lot of variety. It has the best uses of spices. There's a lot of variation in it, and there's still a lot of more Indian food that I have to try. Like, I haven't tried all of it. There's a lot of things I haven't eaten yet, but just for the limited contact that I had with Indian food, like proper Indian food, I really liked it. Next one. European cuisine is actually light years behind Chinese cuisine. The light years behind, that would imply some kind of timeline in which you're evolving and you're trying, like, you're discovering new chemistry in food, and I think that definitely isn't true, right? Europe is a really big place, right? There's a lot of countries, a lot of culture, like you have French, you have Italian cuisine, then you have things like the things that come from Portugal and Spain. Every country has their own special things that they do in a different way, and they all have different backgrounds of evolving based on the situation of those people. I don't know if it's light years behind. It's really hard to put this type of labels on things. I think they're both equally good. So if you have a different opinion about this, like, leave yours in the comments below so we can debate it more, because I would like to know more. Like, this person doesn't really argument their opinion, it's just an opinion. It would be interesting to know why this is. Like, why does he consider that European cuisine is light years behind Chinese cuisine? There is no great food in Europe. A lot of it is good or fine, but nothing is particularly interesting. Asia beats it hands down. So this one is tightly related to the other one. French cuisine has some of the building blocks for cooking in general. A lot of things that were invented in the French kitchens are things that are currently used a lot in a lot of places around the world, and you can find their origins in cuisines from like American food, even Asian foods. Whenever you're comparing such a large spectrum of things, there's going to be peaks, which is highs or lows in both cuisines. So you can usually find something that is completely terrible in Asian cuisine or something that is completely terrible in European cuisine, and the other way delicious. And then you have to actually compare specific things on specific categories, so it's really tough to say that. Ooh, Mexican cuisine isn't great. It has some good dishes, but overall it doesn't rank amongst the best cuisines. Now that's a spicy take. When you say ranking amongst the best cuisines, then you have, like I said previously, you have the French cuisine, you have the Italian cuisine, then you have some places from Asia that have a lot of really good things, like Korean cuisine. I think it's really great. Japanese. The problem when you say something like Mexican cuisine isn't great, I think it's more of an issue of not knowing enough about Mexican cuisine. Each time I go do any kind of research into Mexican cuisine, I find new things that really amaze me. If you look at the dishes that Mexicans are making with just masa harina, which is the flour that you use to create taco tortillas, corn taco tortillas, you'll be amazed. There's so many things with something that isn't even like a proper flour because it doesn't have gluten. It's really interesting. So I would definitely say that this is a controversial opinion, and it's really difficult to actually defend. Like this guy's second comment is, strongly agree, I can't stand it. Well, I can say that by any kind of cuisine that I don't like. That doesn't mean that it isn't great, right? It just means that me personally, I don't like it. Overall, for this Reddit post, I would say that if you look at the controversial ones, you can definitely see that there is definitely something that it's really difficult to agree with. And that's the point, right? Controversial means something that you're stating which doesn't fit the norm. It doesn't fit the status quo. But now at the end of the video, I have a question for you. What is your controversial food opinion? Leave that in the comments below, and if we have enough, maybe I'll do another video in which we can look at these opinions that you posted, and we'll see a more direct comparison. So thanks for watching this, and I hope you liked it, especially since it was food related. I thought it would be really interesting to look at it. Thank you, and I'm going to see you next time. Bye.